What you're hearing right now isn't me. Not really. It's my iPhone. This is my personal voice, a feature in iOS that lets your device sound just like you. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how it works, why it exists, and what it means for accessibility, privacy, and the future of voice.
So yeah, that was personal voice with iOS 18. Hopefully it gets a little bit better with iOS 19, but let's see exactly how to set it up, how to go through the process, and then finally how to use it once it is all set up. Let's get into it. Alright, I'm going to pull up the iPhone next to me to show you guys exactly how to create this personal voice that debuted back with iOS 17. So all you're going to do is go into your settings, scroll down to where it says accessibility, and then scroll all the way down to where it says personal voice under the speech section. Now this does take a little while because again, it's going to have to learn your voice, you have to learn about your inflections, which I know that everybody loves on this channel, my inflections. But again, it's going to go through a bunch of different prompts, and you can see that I tried to do this back on June 7th of 2023, because that's when iOS 17 beta, the first one, came out, and we really wanted to try it. If you guys want to see that video, I'll link it down below, because at that point, well, albeit it was decent, it still was, it kind of felt like it was like a robot version of me, and now that I'm using my 16 Pro Max, and I'm using iOS 18, and this is a public feature, I'm surprised that I haven't tried it since, but now we're going to try it today, and we're going to walk you guys through exactly how to do this. So it's going to Face ID your face, you're going to record yourself, read 150 phrases out loud, which may take up to 15 minutes. Generate your personal voice. iPhone will create and securely store your personal voice because this is all done on device right now. So do keep that in mind, and then communicate with personal voice. And then after you're done with this, you can basically use it for type to speak using live speech. Personal voice also works with spoken content, voiceover, and augmented speech apps. So again, one thing that Apple does very well is accessibility stuff, because they want to have as many people as possible be able to use your phone or use their phone no matter what their situation or what situation they're in, and that's one thing that we got to give Apple kudos for when it comes to accessibility. So I can see this being very useful in a bunch of different scenarios. Maybe unfortunately you're losing your voice and you want to be able to record it and be able to then speak and type to speak with your personal voice, and that's why it's called that. You're able to do that on this as well. And then there's a bunch of other different use cases and scenarios for this, but we're going to press continue here. It comes in two different languages. You can do English or Chinese or Mandarin. Press continue, and then it's going to say get ready to record, speak naturally, and take your time. And I wonder if you actually plug in an external microphone, it'll make a difference. We're going to do it without that. We're actually just going to do it directly on the iPhone. I'm going to show you guys exactly how this goes. I'm probably going to end up fast forwarding because I don't want you guys listening to me for 15 minutes, just repeat things. And then you have a couple different options when it comes to selecting the phrase preference. So you'll record for about 15 minutes to create your voice. Using shorter phrases may result in lower quality personal voice, but reduces the recording time by half. So you can either do something like this where it says the weather looks great for this weekend, or weather looking great. I'm gonna go with the default one to really get an idea of what this sounds like. So I did have to quickly stop the screen recording because it was interfering with the personal voice recording. I got this message right here, as you can see here. Recording consideration. It said it basically that it was the background noise was basically all muffled because I was screen recording as well. So we're gonna do this, and maybe we'll do a little time lapse to see what this looks like. So I figure I'll bring you guys a little closer to get this check done to make sure that it does work. I'm creating a personal voice with my iPhone. So now I'm getting that you're all ready to go, and let's get this done. A little side view for you guys to show you guys how this is done, but let's get this going. Did you like what you ate for lunch today? Her style of painting shows the influence of the French artist. She was a journalist. I had a great day at the park. It's so nice to see you again. During the Middle Ages, in Europe, people bathed less often. Is that the same person you saw at the museum? Are you still hungry? At the end of the year, the country's finances began to grow rapidly. During the next 20 years, they explored much of the region. That was the best movie I've ever seen. From 1945 to 1966, he taught at Tulane. Come back inside right now. Were you finished? In 1828, Cooper's Ferry became a city and changed its name to Camden. As a lawyer, Marshall had argued a case before the court. Looks like we're all done. So let's see exactly what happens next. As we'll press continue, it says prepare your personal voice. Your personal voice will be created securely on your device. Charge and lock your iPhone. Your personal voice will be generated only while your iPhone is charging and locked. Interesting. So we're gonna have to wait for that one, which I was not expecting, but we'll get there when we get there. And then you'll receive a notification. So it is preparing my personal voice, and I guess we'll plug this thing in and get that going. So it is now the next day, and what you have to do here is that it does take a long time for it to process because it is processing on device. So I recommend doing all the voice recordings on one day and then making sure that it's plugged in and in the locked form in order for it to process, because as we saw from the screen recording, that's what it needs to do. It basically processes in the background when there's nothing else going on to make it as efficient as possible. So the next day it was ready to go, and now we're gonna test out what it sounds like. So let me pull up the iPhone right next to me and let's get it going. All right, so I pulled up the phone right here, and to go back into the settings, just to give you guys an idea of how to get there, you will go into your accessibility, then scroll down. It's gonna be towards the bottom here where it says personal voice. So as you can see here, May 23rd, Fernando's personal voice. You can tap in there if you want to. It'll ask for a Face ID. You have the option to do a preview, and then an option to export all the voice recordings if you really want to. Now again, this is all happening on device, and from what I'm understanding, they're not using any of the additional RAM that they used to, because this was a feature that came out with iOS 17, and they're not using any of the Apple Intelligence or anything AI related. They're pretty much just processing this all on demand. So now the next thing you want to do in order to actually access this is you want to go into your live speech section. You want to make sure that this is toggled on, and you can see that it says here live speech speaks aloud what you type using the speaker, and in calls, triple click on the side button to show the live speech. And you can also tap in here to see what's new in live speech. So you have phrase categories, and then if you go into your phrases here, you have all the saved ones that I've created. So these are some of the saved ones I've created. You can actually go in here and edit them if you would like to. And then you also have some recent ones that I've created, so keep the last 10, 50, 100 phrases. So there's a little bit of the settings going on here. But now let's actually see what this sounds like compared to my voice. And again, you guys can hear what I sound like, and I'm curious to see what it's gonna sound like next to my voice. But if I triple click here, so go 1, 2, 3, you'll get the background sounds, magnifier, and then live speech, because these are your accessibility shortcuts. We click on live speech, and now this is where the magic happens. So before we get into the keyboard, if you press on that little down caret, it brings up all the phrases. So you have your recent, your saved ones, and then you can also add a category if you want to. And these are all some of the ones that I've saved before. So if I tap on one of these, I'm gonna put it next to the speaker, and let's see what it sounds like.
Let's test this out. What do we think about the voice I created?
Let's try another one here. So this is another one that I wrote down.
Welcome to the new video. Today we are going to see if personal voice has gotten any better.
Or maybe here's another one.
Hey, get back here and pick up your toys.
So the way that I'm kind of describing what this sounds like is it does have a little bit of an essence of my voice. Again, I was gonna say my personal voice, no pun intended, but clearly it's not perfect. It sounds like a robotized version of my voice. And I think it is getting there, because last year when this first came out with iOS 17, it was a little bit worse, but it's clearly not as good as what we've seen out there from a third-party perspective. There are companies or AI companies that do this as their only solution, and you can get very, very good at replicating somebody's voice, especially if there's a lot of voice out there, which there is a lot of me talking on the internet, so it would be very easy to replicate my voice, which is very interesting. But just to give you guys an idea, if you go down here and tap on that caret again, then you have the keyboard. But this is where you can kind of go custom and go freestyle on here by typing in whatever you want. So, hey, thanks for checking out the video. What should we do next? And then you just press speak.
Hey, thanks for checking out the video. What should we do next?
So as you can see, you can go back and redo it if you want to.
Thanks for checking out the video. What should we do next?
And this is a layer that sits on top of the OS. So if I swipe up or move around here, I can still do stuff down here if I want to, and then I can swipe down, swipe up. Maybe if I want to go on YouTube, I can do that. And it's pretty much something that sits on top of it at all times, which is always good to see, because again, this is an accessibility feature and not a quote-unquote normal feature of the regular OS, but that's something to take into consideration as well. And the last little bit that I would love to have Apple implement here is I would love there to be a way to customize the speed of the speech or the intonation as well, right? Because as you can see, it doesn't sound super natural when you are speaking. So for instance, this saved one again.
Hi everyone. Welcome to the new video. Today we are going to see if personal voice has gotten any better.
So again, it is there for the most part, but it's not 100% there. I'm gonna create a long one right now to see what that sounds like. Okay, let's pull up live speech again by triple clicking, go into live speech, and then I'm gonna go into the keyboard. I'm gonna paste a story that I've kind of created out here, and then we're gonna speak it and see what it sounds like.
A surprise announcement in social media. Limited Nintendo Switch 2 units would be available in store at midnight, first come, first served. I dropped everything, grabbed my hoodie and old Switch, and drove straight to the nearest retailer. By the time I arrived, a line had already formed. I was 19th. Only 25 consoles were available. It rained. No one left. We waited in quiet excitement. At midnight, the doors opened. Minutes later, I walked out with the Switch 2 in hand, tired, soaked, and completely thrilled.
So again, as you can see, it just sounds like a robot version of me. There is a little bit of my personality in there, or a little bit of my actual voice and how I sound, but it's still, in my opinion, a ways away. But let's see what ends up happening in the future But let me know in the comment down below what you think about all this. Is this something that you would use? Do you like that it's an option there for accessibility? I can see this being extremely useful for people that are in the need of having to have their voice kind of replicated on their phone for accessibility reasons. Maybe you are losing your voice, maybe you're a singer and you're protecting your voice for a week at a time. But at the same time, there are better options out there as of right now when it comes to portraying your voice through your phone, or even if you don't need to have it sound like yourself, there are better softwares out there personally that I've seen, even something like a ChatGPT or Perplexity or a Gemini, these built-in ones, you can just type to talk and you'll be good to go. Versus this one, it's nice that it's built into the iPhone, but the selling point here would be that it sounds like you, and this just doesn't fully sound like you 100%. But let me know in the comment down below what you think. Is this a good thing, a bad thing? Should it get better? Has Apple just kind of forgotten about this? Let's discuss in the comments down below. But if you made it to the end, leave a little dolphin in the comments down below so I know you made it to the end. And if you want to watch more videos like this one, definitely check out one of these videos right here. And until next time, I'm Fernando. Peace, everybody.